Right, hello. We're gonna have a short afternoon stream. I'll do another stream later today. I don't know what time exactly. Yeah, my hair's sticking up from where I've had headphones on. I'll need to shave this off soon. But yeah, because a couple of people said to me, could I do an evening stream tomorrow? Yesterday some people said, could I do an earlier one? So I'm doing two. I'll do probably like a 30-40 minute one now, 30-40 minute one later. I got up 20 to 7 this morning, so yeah, that was just simply a case of randomly waking up at around 7 a.m. and feeling really awake. So there you go. I had to retake the thumbnail because I realised the Schmitz-Rubin rifle was prominently displayed, and I thought, oh dear, YouTube won't like that. All right, thank you, Weck. All I've done so far. Well, it's not really a short day, is it? But it's the same length as any other day. But if you mean what have I done this morning so far, what I've done is basically cleaned all the Schmitz-Rubin, completely took it apart, then cleaned it. So that was all right. Although it was one of those things where putting it back together was a bit of an issue because there's a couple of bits where, due to age, obviously the wood's warped slightly. So when you take some of the screws out, you struggle to get some of them out. And then when you try and put some of the screws back in, they don't want to go back in. But I've got it all back together again. All right, Mike. All right, 11HHH30. All right, Elizabeth. All right, email. I already said hello to Alex and Weck, and hello, Tokyo. But yeah, so as I said, this morning I've not done loads other than filming a video on the Schmitz-Rubin as it's just like a 3-minute video. It's just showing what it looked like with all the furniture stripped off of it, and then, an after thing of after it had all been cleaned and oiled and put back together. Some days are better than other days, Josh. It really depends. Because today was one of those days where I woke up quite early, felt in a good mood, full of energy, just got up and started doing stuff. Where I have other days where I just wake up and go and go back to sleep. That's annoying. How did it break, Tokyo? What, like the rubber just split or what? Yeah, I suppose, Alex, assuming you go to bed at a late time rather than just saying, oh, I'm tired early and going to bed early. But yeah, it's a shame. Again, I can't show the Schmitz-Rubin on the stream because I could show you how I've cleaned it. But what I have done, though, which is kind of annoying, or haven't done so much, I should say, was I was going to oil the bolt, and I ordered this bolt grease stuff Mike recommended, and then it didn't turn up. It hadn't turned up, so obviously I said in the video, I've taken it all apart. I'm not going to do the bolt in this video because I don't have the bolt grease. And then typically, about 11 o'clock today, our postman delivered it. So I thought, right, I filmed a video, put it all back together, and the bolt grease typically comes like 10 minutes after you finish putting it together. But luckily, the bolt is quite easy to take out. You can take the bolt out without stripping any of the gun because you just need to hold a bit down and you pull back the bolt and the bolt comes out. The oldest one, 7.62, it's the Schmitz-Rubin 1889, and mine's made in 1892. I don't make the rules, Alex. That's a YouTube rule. I think it's when they've got in trouble because people have done mass shootings and they've live streamed it. YouTube's policy is, well, if we say you can't have a gun on a live stream, that will stop any criticism coming to us. I think that's what my very cynical brain says. Well, you used to be able to on eBay, Ben. The problem is not anymore. I don't know what the Danish charger looks like, Connor. What does the Danish... So is this a Danish dosimeter charger? I've never seen one. Let me Google it. Danish dosimeter charger. Because when I'm Googling this, all I can see coming up in the results are the British Army ones. Do you know the exact name of it or what I can search to try and find it? All right, Zero Meerkat. Today's been one of the days where I felt all right. You know, like full of energy when I woke up, wanted to do stuff. Well, you can't legally play it at the moment, Ben, with all the shit going on with quarantine, unless you can have a quarantine variant of Airsoft. I don't know. So saying that, it wouldn't be too much social interaction, would it? But as I've said quite a few times, I've played it before. I would have done it more often, but the closest site only does one game a month to me. One like Airsoft game a month on a Sunday, and I work Sundays normally, so. Model 1965 and CFR. Let me Google it, and Connor, and see if I can find it. I mean, in general, for the person saying what's better, industrial masks, nothing comes up on Google Images if I search Model 1965. Let me just search CFR 274, and I'll put dosimeter on there. I'm still not getting any results for that. So I really don't know. Can you, Connor, on Discord, send me what it is so I can look for you? But yeah, going back to the question, in general, military masks are better than the industrial ones, but again, it depends what you want from it. Hello, Tanner. I suppose it depends how it's done, isn't it, Steve? But again, in terms of an airsoft skirmish, then no. As in, like, you know, going to like a paintball style site where lots of people are there. But as said, I still think there'd be less kind of close proximity contact doing an outdoor sport like that than, you know, people playing football or whatever. Let me search 3M FF400 respirator. What's interesting is they have different ad categories now for YouTube firearm stuff. So that looks a bit like the 6800 or whatever it's called. Yeah, that looks fine. It looks like that, just a slightly better version of it. Yeah, it looks pretty good. But yeah, what I was saying was, let me open Discord anyway, Connor, and then if you find a link, I can actually have a look for you. But the problem is, without seeing it and getting Google to bring up no results, that is a British one. Yeah, it's Denmark. The Danes doing what the Danes love to do: get British surplus or British gear and stick their name on it. So this is a British one. It's just with their label over it. So yes, it is the British one is the answer to that. It's Denmark being Denmark. Use other people's gear. I mean, obviously under like license, but then stick your own labels on it. It might be the FM12 and the C50, I believe, Ben, but I'm not totally sure. We've been over this quite a lot of times, Brandon. Yes, it should be fine. It's quite a modern filter. Speaking of, though, there's something quite interesting. When you upload videos now and you tick the, like, you know, monetize box, what ends up happening now, this is really interesting, is that you have to let YouTube, I don't know if all channels can do this or just some channels over a certain size, because they're kind of giving you a bit of trust here, which is unlike YouTube. And it comes up with a list and you have to tick any things your video might feature that, you know, make it less ad friendly. And so in theory, if you had a really tame, boring video, there'd be none of the tick boxes. So the ones I normally have to tick is mild profanity, which means something like either very minor words in the first few seconds of the video or like fuck or whatever can be later in the video. But it means you're not saying like fuck, shit, cunt right in the first 3 seconds of the video. So there's that. Then that's one to tick. And then with firearms related content, there's 3 categories. There's the first, which my ones probably don't even fall into the first category for how mild they are, which is like using a firearm at a range or hunting. You know, so it's meant to be safe use of a firearm. Then I think the next one down's to do with something like categories closer to like military use of firearms or something like that. And then the third one, which is obviously the no-no category of YouTube, is something like promoting the creation of firearms and teaching users how to build them or stuff like that, or children using firearms. So yeah, I think, that's the interesting thing is if I look on the monetize options, my videos when it comes to firearms would fit into category 1 if it is even considered bad enough to go in the category. No, because it's to do with advertising on, because if I tick some of those boxes, it still says you're fine for ads, and it's just apparently it tailors ads, and companies can opt out of certain categories. So it's actually good they're finally doing this, because it's like several years too late when all the adpocalypse stuff happened. But why not, for the most part, if you've got accounts that have been on YouTube for a while, why not just let them tell you what's in the video, so they can just put the ads relevant to the video. The best one I've ever shot, Brandon, in terms of how much I personally liked it, because some of my mates have got some quite good ones, but this wasn't even like one of their top end ones. It was a Beeman something or other. I've got a video of it on my channel. And that was a spring brake barrel, but it was just a very smooth action spring brake barrel, very little recoil, because it was a really good spring action in there. Like I've shot some of the bolt action type ones, with magazines on and all that, like the rotary mags and that, but I don't really like PCPs. Like, I imagine they're great for people who have got all the money to keep refilling them with an air tank or whatever. And they want a really, like, no recoil gun and all that. But for me, whenever I shot PCP, I don't like the fact they don't recoil. It feels wrong to me. If you have even if it's an air gun, it doesn't recoil. Because even a brake barrel, like a Springer or a gas ram, actually does jolt when you shoot it. Blades and bows, but they've closed down now. But as said, Alex, I think it might be a thing that not everybody's eligible for. So it might be you need a certain number of subscribers, or you've been on YouTube for long enough. I don't know, but it is quite nice, at least for me now, that I can put videos on and they don't get demonetized, because I can just literally tick a box that says it's probably suitable for 95% of advertisers, but not 100%. Yeah, I'd say that's very reasonable, David. If you've not bought the DIAC one, you're getting a fully functional bolt-action rifle for that price. And yes, Janan, I like the S6 a lot. No, I've not got any blank guns. If that's the one that covers like camo patterns and helmet sort of designs and that, Chris, and yes, I've watched that. I've got a black GP5M and a white GP5M and 2 grey standard GP5s. Anyway, as I said, I would show the Schmitz Rubin right now, but you can't on streams. What? Oh, I was going to say it's a bit risky. I was going to say I'll take the bolt out, but that's a bit risky, and show you the bolt assembly. But no, they probably wouldn't like that, would they? Because it'd be components of a firearm. The Avon M50 is alright. The issue is with it takes its own type of filters, not 40mm filters, which for me, because I'm not in a military of a supply chain, means that's not very good, because it means it massively limits your ability to get filters. What was that shit on fire? All I can see is you saying shot, sorry. Shot, sorry, long. What? Thank you very much, Ninos. Is that 20 Norwegian kroner? Thank you very much. Or Ninos, how many names pronounced? It depends where you are, but S6s in the UK used to be around £30, sometimes a bit more, depending on what the condition was, what the carrier was like, did they come with filters and everything. But I imagine now S6s, again, there isn't going to be a reasonable price for them, because lots of people want several £100s for them just because they're... I still appreciate it. I appreciate it anytime anybody donates, even if it is just like, 50 cents to £1, because, it's just a nice gesture. And it all goes towards, stuff. Because that was the thing before I got all the sudden surge in viewers due to all the corona stuff. What was really nice was all the donations I had over like the previous couple of years, because they added up to get the nice modern camcorder I have now. I can't see why not Iams. I know some companies say not to do that, and then they say buy our own brand of wipe. So yeah, it's just like a case of no, buy our expensive wipes, not the generic cheap ones. I would just say soapy water in the sink, John, but don't have the water too hot. Yeah, it was the biggest month I think for my channel in terms of views was either back end of February or first sort of bit of March, but it's still more than it would be before. So it was nice to get nice to get a burst, and it means at least now I can keep up the comments a bit more. And thank you 11HHH30, and he said remember to like the stream. Yes, please like the stream. But you know that's the problem, is as much as it's nice getting loads of views in and everything and getting recommended by YouTube, it does get quite frustrating when you can't keep up with all the comments, because I used to be able to reply to like every comment, and now what I just have to do is every now and again go on the comments and people get a reply if I'm on at the time they post close to the time I review the comments. So yeah, that's kind of like the annoying thing. So I'm hoping if the views go back down again, it will get to the stage where I can check the comments like 3 or 4 times a day and just reply to all of them again, because that'd be nice. But at the moment, just doing streams is the easy way to talk to people, because the comments are coming in as you're reading them out, sort of thing. Somebody was on about that to me email. It sounds interesting, but I don't know all that much about it. Cheers, Adam. I mean, I think there's lots of other good YouTubers out there. Please don't think I'm the only good YouTuber. There are lots of good YouTubers, but it depends what you want to see videos on, really, doesn't it? What, the modern ones, Ninos, or the older ones? The oldest Drager filter I would risk using myself is the one that's called either HVAC or like HMAC. It's a green one, and it's either HMAK or HVAK that's written on it. And they're from the 80s, if I remember right, and they're all right as far as I'm aware. And then obviously more modern Drager filters are fine, but I wouldn't recommend really using really old Drager filters, just because they're old filters. So even if there wasn't anything dodgy inside them, they're still going to be deteriorating due to age. To a degree, person with a name I have no idea how I ever pronounce. But the thing is, bear in mind, proper NBC gear is meant to be chemical resistant. If you're just wearing like wet weather clothes, what it will do is it will stop chemicals getting through it potentially in the short term, but they're not going to withstand certain chemicals eating into them. Thank you, Emil. So HMAC. I've got quite a lot of East German stuff. If you look on my channel, I've got some of the East German, like Strickton, however it's pronounced, trousers and shirts and that. The M56 helmet, the tank helmet back there is the East German variant, not the Soviet one. I've also got like an East German officer's coat, and a few other things. Yeah, there's a katana on the wall there. There's also some swords sitting through the frame now. No, I know they exist, but I have no idea about them, because I've never seen one in person, but I'm sure if the Japanese made them, they'd be all right. But lots of nations, copied their allies or enemies' designs, Yeah, I've already done a video on that 11HHH30. There's kind of 2 levels to it. There's just cleaning a mask up in the sink if you get a new mask kind of thing, which is my standard kind of recommendation one. And then there's just like how you would spray it with rubbing alcohol and wipe it down before taking the mask off sort of design. As I said earlier, email probably like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then I'll do another stream later this evening. Also, the Drager filters are expired in 2005. The particle bit would still be good in them if they're NBC filters. All right, Fazard. Or Farzad, sorry. But yeah. But yeah, in general though, if you just get a new mask and you want to clean it, the best thing to do is get your kitchen sink, put some warm water in it, not hot water, but warm water. Put some just like regular rubber, not rubber, I was gonna say regular, like fairy liquid type stuff in, cleaning liquid, and put the masks in with that. I have heard some people say, and I don't know if there's any truth to it, that some things like fairy liquid can damage masks, but every single mask I've washed with fairy liquid has never been damaged by it. White is a new green says, saw you, got a Force 8, wear it for shopping now. Good. So you got one, did you, before they went crazy in price? That's good. Well, maybe, Owen, what will happen is there will be a, regarding all the Chernobyl fires, maybe suddenly people will be more interested in Geiger counters and that after that, or if something like that happens again. Have you tried just getting a damp cloth, email? Not fully washing the mask, just getting a damp cloth, because talc will normally stick to a damp cloth. Oh, he's back again. Look, he's back. I'll let everybody see his comments and then we'll block him again. Right, I'm sure everybody has had a chance to read it now, so we'll ban radioactive poo spammer as usual. But anyway, what were you saying about before he spammed the chat? For people saying, will an X size mask fit me? Find a mask size chart. It's impossible to work out through the internet if a mask will fit somebody from just them saying, will this fit me? Christian Spambot, though, did say I was a Satan worshipper, didn't he? I actually had people who weren't that guy coming on videos and saying, like, I'm very concerned. Are you actually a Satanist? I was like, no. So, yeah. What ones have we got? We've got Christian Spambot that comes on sometimes. We've got Radioactive Poo Man Spammer that comes on sometimes. We haven't had the Nazi spammers in a while, but sometimes you get loads of like Heil Hitler kind of spammers all coming on the chat, all with pictures of like Nazis. Like there'd be one called Adolf Hitler, then there'd be one called like Joseph Goebbels or whatever. And when you block one, they'd come back with Goering or whatever, and it'd all be like, shouting Nazi shit. So I haven't seen them in a while. I mean, I don't particularly want them on, but I'm saying I haven't seen them in a while. What other spammers have we had that are like particularly weird ones? Because I mean, obviously, you'll now and again just get somebody who just spams the chat because they can't wait for you to answer them. Mike said to GCHQ that was a joke. If I'm on the CBRN watch list, Mike, I better not read out that quote from you. Happy birthday then, Brandon. Yeah, I've had a couple of those, Peach. I mean, it's sometimes hard to tell where some people are just falling for marketing and constantly going, oh, is Myra a good company? Myra Mask's good, that sort of thing. Or when it is people actually being paid to spam it. I've had things where I've blocked people through Patreon because I've had somebody like give me a Patreon donation that's quite big and then said, can I have your address so I can send you this mask? Then you can do a good review of it. So like, no, fuck off, there's a refund, you're blocked kind of thing. I'm not going to shill your mask because you're going to bribe me to do it. Yeah, that's what they want you to think, NJF. I'm pretty sure they would be. They're not a very good intelligence service if they're not watching my streams. Right, the only thing I can say, Peppy YWiki, is that make sure you look up if it's Gen 0 or Gen 1. The biggest difference is early Cold War night vision is often Gen 0. What that means is it doesn't amplify light. It only sees infrared, which is still cool if you want to mess around with infrared light in like pitch black darkness. But it means that say the moon's out you're not going to see anything through it. Whereas Gen 1 night vision actually amplifies light. All right, cool, David. I hope you enjoy it. That they are lovely. I mean, especially, I mean, I know in America you can probably get them for like $100, but the point is over here where, you know, a lot of DAC guns now getting into the price range of $1,000, getting an old, you know, like 1800s bolt action that's live for that sort of money. Sabers, I've got, in terms of sabers, I've only got the American type one, because that's a rapier. That's a katana, where katana's sort of like a saber, but it's not really. I've got a falchion, but my falchion isn't a curve type design, it's a straight blade falchion. The arming sword I've got is a straight blade design. So I'd say the only saber I've got is the US one there. When you say Geiger counters, I assume you mean Geiger counters. And yes, there's various types of Geiger counters. Then there's other types of radiation detectors like ionization chambers, scintillation counters. If it's a PNV or PNW 57A, it's Gen 0. Don't pay very much for it. If it's a PNV 57E, it's a Gen 1 Plus, which is a really nice unit. What does it look like, Pepe Wiki? Because let me link you to a picture of one, and then tell me if it looks like this or not, because this will determine which one it is. Okay, so if it's this type of design, if I can open the image in a new tab, Sportsman Guide wants to check my IP or some shit before I can. Right. Does it look like this one? Oh, great. The link is so long I can't link it. Right. The people saying how much should you pay? How much long is a piece of string? What do you think your life is worth? And, you know, that it doesn't work unless I paste a really fucking long URL. Brilliant. Right, I can't link to the one from Sportsman Guide then. Let's find another place with them. Here's a brilliant picture, actually. This is exactly what I want, assuming it links to a site which will then let me link the image. There's a PNV 57E next to a PNV 57A, if I can find where the actual picture is. Right, here we go. So, there you go. If you look at that picture, does it look like the smaller one on the right, or does it look like the bigger one on the left? The bigger one on the left is the PNV or PNW 57E, because it's the light amplifying one. It's got more to it. The PNV 57A is essentially just a pair of binoculars that see infrared light, and that's the one on the right. And depending on what your answer is, depends on how much you should pay for it. I'm getting rid of the weird guy that's spamming the chat. But yeah, the PNV person, have they seen the comment I just made? Anglo Arms don't make anything Zerk 7, S7. I don't know if that's going to be like Xerxes. But they don't make anything. They just rebrand stuff. It will be a Mankung or Polang crossbow. Probably the £175 ones that are normally called Jaguars or Firecats. If so, that will be fine if it's not too expensive. It's the one on the right. Okay, don't pay very much for it, like $100 or something at most, because it doesn't amplify light. So when you think of night vision, that isn't what you want to be thinking of. Again, if you could get one cheap, that's fine. And they are cool things, but the PNV57E is the one that actually amplifies light. If you look on my channel, there's actually a video on my channel of a PNV57E that I was able to, was lent for a while, so I could use them for videos. And the PNV57Es are fantastic for a really old kind of retro bit of night vision. But yeah, I wouldn't pay too much for them. Sorry, for the people saying, are there any good cheap recommendations? You won't get cheap night vision because of the technology involved, unless you get really lucky in a second-hand sale. The best unit I currently have is this one, the Pulsar. And I got this for under its RRP, and I still spent a couple of hundred on this one. That's a Gen 1 Plus. Gen 2 is much better. Gen 2 Plus is far better again. But again, what's your price range? Because again, unless you just get lucky with a Gen 1 second-hand sale, you're not going to get cheap night vision because of the technology isn't mass-produced. The problem is it's not digital camera technology. You can get some digital night vision, and some of it's pretty meh to okay. But the issue is night vision uses old cathode ray technology. It doesn't use modern digital stuff, so it's not really cheap to mass-produce. Weapon collector is Mike. From people that donate, Alex, mostly, and just doing this and another job, but at the moment. 3M's fine. They're a big manufacturer of protective gear. I don't know what you want me to say, really. I'm sure some of 3M's masks, are good. Some are a bit meh, but, I don't have any issue with 3M because they don't pay people to shill their products, and give false good reviews of them or whatever. Well, the PTM ones, sort of dust mask style masks. Yeah, they're cool. I just find it interesting, Toad. Assuming that you had one in really good condition, Mr. Slavinator, and then you had a modern filter for it that fit it properly, yes. I'll have to look up what the Eco Visor is because I've not actually heard of it. It sounds like it might be another one of these. Oh, is it the SOEX Geiger counter? I was thinking that it might have been. Right, I've never used that particular one. I've used the SOEX 01M back in the day. It depends what it maxes out on, because obviously it's one that's meant to do several things, I guess it. Let's read its features compared to the price. I mean, personally, I don't have much use for a food nitrate tester, an EMF meter, or a water tester. So what it's going to come down to is how good is the Geiger and dosimeter function on it. And because it doesn't say very obviously what the max range is, it makes me think it's probably not very good. I mean, personally, I wouldn't bother with something like that. If it was me, I would say just get a regular Geiger counter, because that is kind of like one that's trying to look like a smartphone. And I don't think, it'd be worth that money. I think if you're going into mid $200 for a Geiger counter, you might as well pay $100 more and get that really nice one that Surviving the Apocalypse has. The one that has the alpha window on the back. I'm trying to think of the name of that one now. There's also some, I think, Inspector models that have the mica window on the back. When you say Stalingrad incident, do you mean the Wehrmacht getting their ass kicked by the Soviets? I don't know why you call it the Stalingrad incident. It's the Battle of Stalingrad, unless you're about something totally different. Amori Samurai says, where can you get an S10 or FM12 for a good price? Probably not anywhere anymore, in all honesty. I've done some searching on Google to no avail. At the moment, you basically can't because a lot of the people selling them want retarded money for them. So where it used to be, you could get an S10 for like 30 quid quite easily, 30 to 40 pounds. Recently, like over the last year or so, they've been getting closer to like 60 pounds as like the lowest price. And now it's been, recently like £300 some people want for them. Right, thank you, Farzad. I don't know why I'd look great. I mean, I don't feel as tired as normal, but that's probably it. Oh, that's interesting. So if a Schmidt Rubin is still $400 to $700 in the States, Steve, they're not too expensive here, are they? Being £450. Because generally we're pretty used to in Britain, if you do end up wanting firearms, obviously legally, I'll definitely add the legally bit, just because I know the police watch my videos. And I am on about properly legal if you're buying them from gun trader type things. Rifles and that tend to actually be quite a markup to what they are on the US stuff. So surplus rifles tend to cost more regardless. And then even kind of current grade stuff, if it was, like bolt action or whatever, still seems to be a massive markup. Yeah, jazz is an alright genre of music. I don't really listen to a lot of jazz, but I don't mind jazz. I have weird ass dreams every day, or every night, I should say, for like the last couple of years. But I think it's some of the medication I'm on causes like weird dream shit. Some of them are like really fucking horrible nightmares. I had a really weird one, Mike, where I was around your house. It didn't look like your house, but I was around your house and your family was there. And then, like, I think I was visiting you for the day, but then people were trying to break in the house and murder us. That was a really weird one. Just because when you have a dream where it's real people in it, rather than it all just being fake, essentially people in a dream, that was a really weird one. So it was basically a bit like a zombie apocalypse thing, but I don't think it was zombies. I think it was just like deranged kind of lunatic people. It didn't look like your house or anything, but it was you and like your relative there. It was very strange. And like they were trying to smash through like the patio doors type things. But there was one I had the other day with pirate ships in as well. I don't think there was really pirates in it. I think it was just pirate ships. And then it was like the rest of the dream was just about, I can't even remember now. Because that's the weird thing with nightmares and dreams, is sometimes they're very vivid when you have them, but you can't remember much about them when you wake up. And there was one I remember I had the other day, but it's really vague even compared to some of the ones I've had recently, where it was all about something to do with a treasure map in like the Wild West, and people looking for treasure. I don't think that one was so much of a nightmare, although there might have still been some creepy stuff in it. But yeah, I can remember the one quite well where there was like people, like deranged killers, trying to break into your house. That one, and I was there because it was like one where I'd gone over to visit you, and then something suddenly kicked off while I was there, and we were like trapped in the house. And then there was another one I had the other day, which I can still remember quite well, which was a bit like the Buffalo Bill bit at the end of Silence of the Lambs, where it was like Buffalo Bill trying to get me in the dark, but you'll find this funny. Rather than him having night vision on, he had a scintillator counter, like a Geiger counter, because I was slightly radioactive, so he was trying to track me down with that. But of course, it was like, because it's a weird nightmare, it was like in third person, where, I could keep seeing him going around with a scintillation wand in his gun. But yeah. No, I haven't even heard about that, White is the New Green. Yeah, load of dreams can be really weird. Only thing I know about Zodiac is that he was never caught, was he? Yeah, that's a good idea, Chris. Weird thing, sometimes I can't remember them all that clearly as soon as I wake up, but it's like a couple of hours after I've been awake that I suddenly start remembering quite a bit of them. But I guess I'd have to. Do you mean like star symbol type things? Then I think I'm either Libra or a Scorpio. I think I always fall in it depending on how they've done the days on different like star sign calendars. But I don't believe in astrology or whatever it's called. Well, that's an interesting one with H30. That sounds quite creepy though. So, but yeah, I'm afraid the only thing I know about Zodiac is the Zodiac Killer, if that's what you mean. I thought Bernie Sanders was on the other theories about the Zodiac Killer, wasn't it? I mean, they could try, Mr. Slavinator, but a lot of the people don't even want them for free because the problem is, let's say they requisition my masks. They've only got as many masks as there are masks there. Well, what they want is company deals, don't they? So, like, they can get, like, profits. Oh, it's very cynical of me with certain companies only producing the masks. No, that was only a one-time thing, VS. Like I said, I normally always have a nightmare or some sort of weird dream every night. Some aren't very memorable at all, you know. And then now and again, I'll have like a really creepy one that I remember for a while, or one where, where it's just like complete nonsense. One I did have the other day, which was a bit weird. There was somebody I went to school with, and in the dream they died. I don't know if they were meant to have died of coronavirus, or they were meant to have died in a car accident or whatever. And it was just a really depressing dream because, like, the dream was going to a funeral, and then some of the other dream was just like a family that were crying, and saying about how they were going to miss this relative and they were gone forever. I think, well, that's a fucking horrible dream, isn't it? There was nothing weird that happened in it, like, other than that. It was just literally, cool, Stug. Does that work well? Because that's interesting for the people that, it's not a compulsory vaccine, though, is it? Because, that's, again, this sort of stupid conspiracy shit. There was a load of stuff going around. Apparently, Jeremy Corbyn's brother was saying that you're going to be forced to take the vaccine and you're not if you read the actual thing. Fair enough, Mr. Slavinator. Once or twice. I've never managed to have one when I wanted to have one. But I have had a couple of like lucid dreams before where you realise partway through the dream that you're having a lucid dream and then you can control it. A lot of the time, though, when I realise I'm having a dream will be the point I wake up. Pretty stupid would be the answer to that, young man. On the radio earlier, they said rather than calling them anti-vaxxers, we should call them pro-diseasers, which I thought was actually pretty adequate. The thing is, I can understand people with being skeptical of vaccines, not the complete anti-vax stuff. But like the people who say some of the companies that make the vaccines could be getting, like profits out of it. They're not always, as safe as they're meant to be. There has been vaccines in the past which, have had issues. I don't mind people saying that. That's probably more healthy skepticism. But the thing I don't get is the whole thing that like vaccines put stuff in you so Bill Gates can control you and turn you into a zombie, or the 5G towers then control you, or it gives you autism, or it gives you something else that it can't even possibly. But yeah, it was what they were saying on LBC this morning, Mike, when I was listening to it, because they spent about 20 minutes discussing some like the latest weird anti-vax conspiracy. No, that's a strange one. The unswattable midge. All right, hype. Yeah, I think pro-diseasers or something like that is a better name than anti-vaxxers personally for them, because used to play piano, don't really play it anymore sadly, but I've got enough free time now, haven't I, that I actually did clean it off the other day so I could lift it up and play it. What, is in any like Irish military stuff, Amori Samurai? Unfortunately, no, not as far as I'm aware. I don't think much Irish stuff ever turns up on UK eBay, sadly. So White as New and Green said a 2011 study found that a placebo vaccine made people less racist when they were faced with the threat of a contagious disease. That's what interests me. How does that work exactly? Because if it's a placebo, then it's just going to be a purely mental thing, isn't it? Yeah, like, I can get you there completely, and I'm afraid I have no idea how your name's pronounced, but the person saying that, you know, there's a lot of profit stuff and there's dodgy stuff, and isn't there something like vaccine companies can't be sued or something even if they make bad vaccines? There's definitely stuff there which I think, you know, was worth raising questions, but it's like I said, the people I'm more of a problem with are the ones that think every single vaccine ever invented was a way of controlling people. So, you know, even back in the day when Edward Jenner figured out that, you know, people who got cowpox couldn't get smallpox, you know, apparently that was a method to control people, even though essentially it was saving people's lives even back then. Yeah, they're on about opening stuff up again soon, Hype. I think it was meant to be this Thursday. Now it's delayed to Sunday when they're doing the announcement. But I think they're on about very, very gradually relaxing some of the restrictions. Yeah, exactly, Arnold. It's what it's a bit like then for me, right? This is a good way of summing it up. It's going to be a completely stupid analogy, but you know when there's a first generation of like computer comes out or something like that, or a console, and you're saying I don't want to buy the first release of this console because it's probably going to come down in price and there's probably going to be like fatal flaws of it, like the Red Ring of Death or something that's, you know, in there. So what you want to do is you want to wait for the console to kind of be through a teething stage, and then it's going to be better for everybody. I'd kind of agree with you there for vaccines as well. You know, I wouldn't want to take something that had been rushed out, you know, like literally within one day with no quality testing done on it. All right, I'll look into that in a minute. White is the new green when I finish this stream off. I won't read stuff like that on the stream because then I can't read people's comments. Yeah, like I said, I've got your thing all ready to go. I cleaned the bag out again yesterday. Your MD3's in its bag, so I know which one's yours. I've also put a little card in there for you because they often come with, yours didn't come with calibration documents. I've recalibrated it anyway, but they come with like a little instruction card, which is pretty self-explanatory. But you know, in case somebody is too stupid to figure out how they work, let me show you one of the cards. I should have a spare one of the cards in here, I think I did. Or is it not in here? Oh, yeah, there we go. So, these amazing cards. When I do a video, it's soon actually doing, like, beginner's instructions on the MD3 dose rate meter. Right, so it tells you what you should have included there. So, let's go through this. Also, your serial numbers never match up. Like, every single one I've got, the bag is a different serial number to the MD3, which is a different serial number to the ID card. Yeah, no worries, as I said, but yeah. So compromising, meter dose rate MD3 assembly, or you're definitely going to get one of those because that's the actual meter. Haversack number 6, I assume that's a really nice, like sturdy vinyl bags, so you'll get one of them. Screwdriver, yours has got that in, but I wouldn't recommend using it. I'd recommend using a real screwdriver, because it's like one of those really tiny aluminium ones that basically bends under the tension of the case because the case is tougher. Plate identification. Now, I'm assuming that is just simply the little blue screen on it that has the thing. and it says batteries used 1.5 volts, quantity 2, or you only need 1 if you're using the thing. Warning, switch instrument off before replacing batteries. That makes sense. Now this is the funny bit, the operating instructions, because apparently you need operating instructions for it. Not initial setup, but operating instructions. On-off switch, position 1, off. Okay. Top control knob, fully clockwise. Position 2, battery test. Above upper red line, good batteries. Upper red line, 20 hours at 20 Celsius. Lower red line, replace batteries. So the battery test is pretty straightforward. You want the battery test to be as far along the meter as possible. It's not one where it's meant to fit in between a range. It's basically you don't want it below the first red line. If it's between the first red line and the second red line, you're pretty low on battery. If it's anywhere above that, that's good. Position 3, on with lamp. Position 4, on without lamp. So I'm sure off, on with lamp, and on without lamp people can understand. I don't know why you need a card to tell them that. How's the old thing from the Mark II there? Warning, always switch to position 4 as regular drill to avoid undue use of lamp battery. Turn to position 3 only when the dial illumination is required. So that's a pretty standard thing. But this is the bit I find funny on these. Range switch, lower control rod. Right. There's a thing, I've only had one MD3 that's ever been actually the same as the label here with this. So, fully clockwise, position 1 is set 0, and that's straightforward. Adjust control mark 0 to obtain 0 reading. Position 2, 0 to 300 centigrade an hour, red scale. Position 2, 0 to 30 centigrade an hour, blue scale. Position 4, 0 to 3 centigrade an hour, white scale. Right, here's the problem. The 0 to 30 centigrade an hour, I have only ever seen one of these that had a blue marking on that. Nearly all of them have been green. I'm pretty certain of that I've only ever had one of these before that's actually had a blue 0 to 30. Let's have a look on this one. Saying that, this one is almost blue, but it's still slightly green. I don't know if you can see that very well on there, but this particular model, it's closer to green and blue, I'd say, but that's still more bluish than some of the others. So that one isn't far off. It looks green. I think what it is, Hype, because I've been trying to guess this. I thought, were they actually colorblind, like you said? I think what it is whatever shade of green they used fades very quickly as soon as UV light hits it. So I think the only one I've got that actually still looks blue is probably one where somebody had it permanently, never switched to that range. So there's that one. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, that's almost blue on that one, saying that. Yeah, that's blue. What about this old Mark II Radiac? It's the middle switch. Hard to see from there. Where have I got a little flashlight? Because what I want to do is just shine a light on there so I can see if it's... I have to use my phone light. But yeah. What an interesting stream this is, looking at old Mark II Radiacs and MD3s to work out if they got the colours right. No, that's definitely green on that one. And that's very green as well, almost more bluish than some. But yeah, that's that. And this one I've got in the bag here, what colour is this one? Let's have a look at this one. Green. Definitely green. Where's my other one? I've got another MD3 somewhere as well. I've got more MD3s than you can shake a stick at. And that's ignoring your one I've got for you in the other room, and the other one in the other room that I bought at the same time that I want to do the initial setup video. Where's the other MD3 gone? That's a good question. Where have I put my other MD3? No, I think it is that one. Yeah. No, it's that one. So it's only like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spare MD3s for myself now. Well, not spares, but 4 MD3s for myself. Could be. I mean, the one I've got that's blue is definitely very blue. That's why it surprised me, because I was flicking for it. I was like, they've got the wrong color there. That's blue. And then I looked at the cards on all of them and was like, oh, they all say it should be blue. Oh, I love Marmite. But yeah. Oh, I didn't know that, Richard. That's kind of funny, though. Yeah. So it wasn't that He-Man was like a queer kind of symbol or anything. It was that He-Man just didn't have the right color clothes because the cartoonist was colorblind. Yeah, hand sanitizer should clean the outside of masks fine. See you, Alex. Yeah, so I ended up doing an hour's stream almost this morning, even though I wasn't going to do an hour. Well, early afternoon. I'll be on this evening, probably 7 p.m. sort of time for an hour or 30 minutes or whatever. Just because some people ask, could I do an evening stream? Some people ask me for an early morning stream. Well, I've been around for both, haven't I? But yeah. Oh, there's something else we can check, because I've not even thought about this one. So this is how the meter works inside Hype. This is the actual little device, and this bit is on the spring, on like the thing. So that is how the colours change. Now, oh, is this one blue? Oh, it's closer to blue, but it's actually still quite green. Yeah, this one's green. I thought, yeah, see, that is definitely red. The Doom level of radiation is red. If it wants to focus. I don't know if it's going to focus, but come on. Yeah. So that is definitely red there. That is red. But yeah, this looks a bit blue to the webcam, but it's actually kind of a bluey green. And obviously that's the white. But yeah, that's how these actually work, is they've got like an arm on them and a spring. So yeah, they actually kind of shift up and shift down if you take them out of this case, but I won't do that now. But yeah, yeah, that's how that works. And if you yeah, this one as well is green. So yeah, I think it was probably a case of the MD3s are brilliant, yeah, for what they are. I mean, you're not going to ever really see the needle move on them. I hope you wouldn't, unless you're, using them with a check source. But the point is, if you ever wanted to know if a nuclear disaster has happened, they're pretty accurate for that. That's cool. Yeah, Grobnob. They do have the really big, like, kangaroo pouch pocket, don't they? Yeah. Basically, this, I think it's 1 volt will move it completely to one side. Probably less than 1 volt. So on my variable voltage thing, you have to literally only, dial it ever so slowly to move the needle. So it's very, very precise with the voltage it puts through to get a measurement on there. For example, I can probably demonstrate it before I go off with crop clips and the battery. Where have I got some crop clips? Might not be possible then. Actually, I suppose I could get a little watch battery, couldn't I? And just stick a watch battery in there. But the point is, basically, right, let's... they're both taped together. I don't want to get those out if they're taped together. Never mind, I was just going to use a Bereg battery, but can't do that. But the point is, it's only like what it can only manage about, 1 volt. It's not a like I said, the resistors in there must be really good and precise. If on this entire scale, it can have precise little tiny needle movements where it literally needs less than 1 volt or whatever it is for If you mean the MD3s, yes, I'd say they're of excellent quality for what they are. You'd never break it. I mean, if you break it, I think you deserve some sort of award. Don't obviously go out and buy one just to break it. But what I'm saying is, in ordinary operation, I would find it very, very hard for somebody to break one of these units. They are literally designed so you could beat somebody to death with one of these. You know, I would not want this, you know, being smacked into my face. Ow! Yeah. That really is, you know, for all I know, that could be dried blood on the side there, if somebody actually previously did have their brain smashed in with an MD3. But yeah, excellent units. Anyway, I'll be off. Thank you, everybody. I'll probably be on this evening. Don't spam the chat for the people who are spamming the chat, because it just distracts from proper comments. Oh, you should have taken a dosimeter with you, John. And said, can I have this in my pocket when I have an x-ray taken, and then see what reading it gave you afterwards. But I hope that all went well. Thanks to Mr. Rontgen, the father of the x-ray. We now have medical technology since 1895. We can look inside people's bodies with electrons. So the Rontgen unit is named after Rontgen, the guy who discovered x-rays. Oh, they have fancy laser tech. Anyway. See you all, and yeah, like I said, I will be on later on, but I don't know the exact time yet. But as I was up at like before 7 a.m. today, I thought I'd do 2 streams, assuming that I'm not falling asleep by the second stream. Right, see you then. Goodbye, everybody.